Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. This is a video to go over do now number 1 for a Regents review. So we have officially started Regents review. Woohoo! So things are going to be a little different now. What I'm going to do is for the do nows, as you can tell because you're watching the Ed puzzle, I'm going to make videos and you're going to watch the Ed puzzles because this is basically going to be your classwork now. Okay, and then what I want you to do for me is I want you to submit this worksheets on Google Classroom so you get credit for it, all right? So you're going to have your classwork is going to be the do nows, and then today is actually one more lesson too. You're going to learn that, but moving forward, it's just going to be the do now, and then the homework will be the actual Regents that you guys are working on. So you're going to be, again, now on submitting do nows onto Google Classroom. You're going to be watching Ed puzzles for the do nows, and then the homework will be the Regents review. Actual exams, and that'll start tomorrow. Today is going to be one more little thing that I'm going to teach you. But all right, so let's go ahead and let's start this. So do now number 1. So calculating if a data value is an outlier. So this should sound familiar from our stats unit. So it may be the case that a data value falls well outside the range of the other values in the set. Such data values are called outliers as they lie outside the other values. Outliers are defined as those data points that fall more than a specified distance from the first or third quartiles. Again, you should know that from stat unit. That specified distance is 1.5 times the IQR. Don't forget IQR is the interquartile range. Data points that fall to the far left or the far right of an ordered data set should be tested. All right, so sometimes you'll look at a set of data and you'll be like, okay, yeah, that's definitely an outlier. So, you know, that's the choice you pick. But sometimes it looks like an outlier and it's actually not. So this is the way to 100% tell if something is an outlier or not. And you're definitely going to use this again in your upper level math as well. So to figure out if something is an outlier, it is a formula. It's 2 formulas. You have this formula right here and this one here. And unfortunately, you would have to memorize these for the region. So for the lower one, okay, lower, Q1, that's quartile 1 minus 1.5 times the IQR. And then the upper fence, Q3 plus 1.5 times IQR. So what it does is it creates like the lower and the upper boundary, and anything that's outside of them are no good. All right, so before we start, I'm just going to remind you how to put a couple things in the calculator. So stat 1 edit. Okay, that's where we're going to put the numbers. Okay, we're going to go to our L1. And then to get the Q3 and the Q1, we don't have to really do that by hand. The calculator will do it for us. So that is stat calc number 1, which was one of our stats. All right, and that's going to be able to get the Q1 and Q3. Okay, so this is actually new. I have never taught this to you before, but it should not be too bad at all. All right, so here we go. Do the following data sets have an outlier? So this is our first data set. So we're going to start with putting the numbers into the calculator. So we're going to press, okay, so you guys are at the home screen. You're going to press stat 1, clear out whatever you have in there, and then in L1, type in all these numbers. 1, 45, 46, 47, 51, 54, 54, and 55. All right, and then just make sure that it is correct. 1, 30, 40, 1, 2, 3, 44s, 45, 46, 47, 51, 54, 54, 55. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to press stat calc 1. Okay, so stat, move over to calc, and then press 1. I guess I should put that in between here. Stat, move over to calc. And then we're going to get what we need. Okay. So stat, calc, 1. Make sure that that is empty, that frequency list. Don't make that mistake I did. And then here we go. So we're going to scroll down. And we have your Q1 is 42. And your Q3 is 52.5. So you need to write those down. That's going to help us out. Okay, so Q1 is 42 and Q3 is 52.5. Okay, so then what you do next, because you have the Q3 and you have the Q1, the only other thing you need is the IQR. So the interquartile range, I'm going to leave some room here and here. Don't forget that's Q3 minus Q1. So Q3 is 52.5. Q1 is 42. Just subtract them in the calculator and get 10.5. Okay. So now this is an important number, this is an important number, and this is an important number. Everything is going to help us get our answers. So I'm going to write down both of these formula. Q1 minus 1.5 times our IQR, that'll be on that side, and then Q3 plus 1.5 times IQR will be on this side. Okay, so Q1, oops, that's Q1, is 42. 1.5, my IQR is this number here, 10.5. Okay, all right, switch pencils. I don't like that pencil. So then 42 minus, do 1.5 times 10.5 in the calculator, and we're going to get 15.75. So 42 minus 15.75 is 26.25. All right, so that's like the lower boundary. Now the upper boundary, Q3 is 52.5, and then 1.5 times 10.5. Now I already know this number from here, so I don't need to figure out anything extra, but just add those numbers together. So 52.5 plus 15.75 is 68.25. Okay, so this is like your upper fence, and this is going to be your lower fence. Okay, so 26.25. Where is 26? 26 is somewhere in between 1 and 30. Okay, and then 68.25 is way past over here. Okay, so any numbers that are in this section is good. Anything outside of that is no good. So if you notice, that number right there, the number 1 was outside. So that's going to be your outlier. So 1 is an outlier. So this might have been, you know, kind of easy to tell because that one was so far, but that's how you do it for real. All right, number 2. And also notice, by the way, these always have to be in numerical order too, which they are. Good. Okay, so let's see. We need a Q1, we need a Q3, we need an IQR, and then we have our 2 sections, and 1.5 times IQR, and then Q3 plus. Okay, so notice the lower one is subtracting and the upper one is adding. I don't know if you don't have to in the future memorize it at all, if that helps at all. So you think of like lower like less, so subtract, and upper is like more, so that's plus. So, all right, so here we go. Stat 1, put those numbers into L1. So -3, 5, 10, 12, 14, 18, 24, 26, 49, and 60. Okay, let's see. 10, 12, 14, 18, 24, 26, 49, and 60. Okay, good. So now press stat, move over to calc, press number 1, and let it do all the work for us. So don't forget to scroll down. So Q1 is 10, Q3 is 26. All right, so IQR, remember that's Q3 minus Q1. So Q3 is 26 minus 10 is 16. So you're going to use these 3 numbers right there. Okay, so it's 10 minus 1.5 times 16, and that's going to be 10 minus, okay, so 1.5 times 16 is 24, and 10 minus 24 is 14. All right, other side now. So 26 plus 1.5 times 16. Again, we already know what this value is. And now we're doing adding instead of subtracting. So 26 and 24 is 50. So these are your boundary numbers, okay? So -14 would be over here, be way past the -3. And 50 would be right here. So these are the good numbers. These are all your close data points. You notice this one is outside of it, so that one is no good. 60 is an outlier. All right, so that's basically it. I just found other 2 questions that could possibly show up. So the only difference with this one is that the numbers are not in order. They're not in numerical order. So the first thing we want to do is we want to put them in order. So 12, 19, I'll just tell them because I happen to. 19, 20, 21, 22, 22, 23, 24, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 32, oops, I'm gonna have to go over here, 35, and 48. So those are all the numbers in numerical order. Okay, so we have Q1, Q3, IQR. And then we have our two formulas. We have Q1 minus, and then remember this is Q3 plus. Okay, Q1, Q3 minus plus. And then these are exactly the same. 1.5 times IQR and 1.5 times IQR. All right, calculator, stat 1. So now it doesn't matter if you put the numbers in not in numerical order in the calculator. So I'm just going to go off the original. So 29, 19, 35, 27, 21, 48, 23, 12, 24, 26, 20, 28, 30, 22, 19, 32, and 22. All right, let's hope that that's right. Stat calc 1. And let's see what we have. We have Q1 is 20.5 and Q3 is 29.5. So Q1 is 20.5, Q3 is 29.5. All right, IQR, we got Q3 minus Q1. So 29.5 minus 20.5 is 9. So again, using those three numbers. And here we go. So 20.5 times 1.5 times 9. 20.5 minus 1.5 times 9 is 13.5, and that's a difference of 7. All right, Q3 is 29.5, and then 1.5 times 9, again, same exact values. So plus 13.5, and that's going to give you 43. Okay, so here's where you kind of need to have them in numerical order for this. So 7 is going to be way over here. And then 43 is in between 35 and 48. So 48 is the outlier. Is an outlier. There's actually one more thing I just thought of right now. I'm gonna write it right here. Can look at max and min on calc. Okay, instead of putting numbers in order. Instead of putting numbers in order. Okay, so really what you can do is you can go back to that stat calc 1, and if you notice here, the maximum number is 48 and the minimum is 12, and that's what we have here. Minimum is 12, max is 48. So you would know that 7 is, you know, definitely before the 12. Sorry about that. Before the 12. So 12 is good. And then your max of 48, well, that's no good because that's way past this 43. So that's just another way to actually, you know, help you out. All right, last but not least. So we have a box plot instead. This is just one other way they can ask you to do this, okay? So we need our Q1, we need our Q3, and then we're going to need our IQR. I really don't have any room. All right, so instead of them giving you a list of numbers to plug into the calculator, well, they just give you the box plot. Remember, this is your Q1 and this is your Q3. The Q1 is the starting of the box and the Q3 is the ending. So this is 8 and this is 16. So without doing any work in the calculator, this is actually almost easier. So Q3 minus Q1, so 16 minus 8 is 8. So we have 8, 16, and another 8. And then this also actually asks us if a specific number is an outlier. So Q1 minus 1.5 times IQR. Q1 was 8, so 8 minus 1.5 times, what's my IQR? Oh, also 8. 8 minus 1. That should be 12, I think. 1.5 times 8 is 12. Yep, and 8 minus 12 is negative 4. We have Q3 plus 1.5 times IQR. Q3 is 16. 1.5 times 8 we already know is 12. Again, the Q1 is minus, the Q3 is plus. And that is 28. So is 28 an outlier? Oh, so this is actually a good one because they give you the actual. So if 28 is the last number, and that's the last okay number, it's asking if it's an outlier. No, it's not. It's okay. So no, 28 is not an outlier. All right, so that was your first do now, first Regents do now. It actually, you know, happened to be a new topic. This is something you're going to need to know for this year and definitely next year. So again, to get credit, this is what we're doing now. You're going to have to post this worksheet onto Google Classroom for me and then whatever homework I give you after. So hopefully you understand it now. Don't forget to post it. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to me. And yeah, don't forget to do your homework. All right.